Good morning, everybody. So I'm out walking around this week, and I come upon this table just sitting there in the middle of nowhere, just right out in the open. And there's this weird little dude sitting there with a big ass hat, sipping tea, and he says to me, "Why is a raven like a writing desk?" And I was like, "I don't know. Why is Lewis Carroll like a good writer?" That was mean. The following comments are taken from editions of Mail Call, printed in the Herald-Mail from September 19 to September 30, 2011, which can be viewed online in their entirety at www.herald-mail.com. First up, from Blue Ridge Summit, Pennsylvania. This is in regard to the unions. Years ago, you needed unions, what with sweatshops and all, but now, with all the federal, state, and local laws, you do not. They are leeches living off the backs of hard-working people. Yeah, I reckon that's right. The unions have done their work, and what with laws being permanent and employers today not having any interest in paying their workers as little as possible while simultaneously trying to wring as much work as possible from them, yeah, I'd say we'd all be better off without them. I have called in I don't know how many times, and the only thing you put in the paper was that I said there were 33 mail calls and I wasn't in it. Well, it's time you put the truth in there. There's no foreign country going to help the U.S., and we help other countries, and I think it's time we quit. We have people here who need help. Hagerstown. So we should stop sending so much money to Israel and spend it on welfare instead? Well, okay. I just don't know what is wrong with this country anymore. Everything is about the fact we have no jobs. Well, bring our jobs back. Make the companies bring the manufacturing jobs and the sewing jobs and all the jobs that have gone to other countries, bring them back to America. Hagerstown. God, I know, right? It would be so easy. Why don't we just do it? President Obama, you, right? Look, I know you watch, okay? Bring back the jobs. Just do it personally. Bring the jobs back right now. Enough fucking around. Dude, I voted for you, all right? I'm calling in my marker. Bring the jobs back right now. And make the gas cost less, okay? And the AT&T near here on Sharpsburg Pike, they're charging too much for the car wash. Make them charge not as much, okay? And why is coffee so expensive? Fix that too. And make liquor stores stop opening late on Sunday. And tell Barnes & Noble to move into the old Borders stores, because it's nice to have a bookstore around, you know? Oh, and have McDonald's go back to selling the fried apple pies. They were better than the ones that they have now. And make baseball games shorter. And tell the TV not to have as many commercials during the programs. There never used to be this many television commercials. And I'm reading Mail Call this morning. I see somebody put in there about Dick Cheney. He likes waterboarding. If you go to a foreign country, they beat your body, then cut your head off. They don't have a waterboard problem. That's the only reason why you ought to keep the waterboard, save thousands of lives in this country, maybe 1 million. This person understands you go to a foreign country, they beat you first, then they cut your throat off, even if you do or you don't tell them anything. Hagerstown. You know this from experience, I suppose. Waterboarding dates back at least until the start of the Spanish Inquisition in the late 15th century. The Japanese and the Germans used it against American prisoners of war in World War II, and up until the last few years, the most infamous incident of waterboarding involving an American was during the Vietnam War, when an American soldier was court-martialed and subsequently discharged for waterboarding a North Vietnamese POW, because it was illegal. But you're right, Hagerstown, some of our most savagely fanatical enemies do cut off other people's heads, whereas agents of our government are only guilty of pretending to drown our prisoners. So we should definitely feel very proud of ourselves, much more civilized. I notice lately there's a fellow from Frederick who keeps calling in Mail Call. I'd like to ask him this question. Why do Republicans hate unions so much? I'm sure there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of Republicans who are in unions and are glad of it for better wages, health care, etc. So why do Republicans hate unions so much? Remember, unions did good things in the past. Hagerstown. That is a good question. You know, my wife and I were talking about this, and she came up with an even better one. Why are there any government employees in the Republican Party? Talk about self-loathing. Why would you want to be a member of a party that routinely tries to win elections by promising other people to get rid of your job? But yet there must be hundreds of thousands, millions of government employees who are in the Republican Party. Public school teachers and postal workers and IRS agents. But why? Do you enjoy being blamed for all the nation's problems, being called freeloaders and leeches? Or do you agree with that? I mean, are you Republicans who work for the government, or are you government workers who are in the Republican Party? Whichever one it is, you'd probably feel a lot better about yourself if you quit one. And you probably need the job, so... Instead of the government removing their cumbersome feet from the necks of business owners and let them thrive, President Obama's answer is to raise taxes and spend more money. Just another liberal failure from a politician who does not care about America. South End. Hey, remember that previous era in American history when everything was so much better than it is now? When everybody had jobs and the economy was booming and everybody was happy? I'm not going to be any more specific than that because everyone who thinks that way defines that era differently. But trust me, I can almost guarantee you that whatever era you're thinking of, taxes were higher then than they are now. Unless your golden era falls somewhere in the 1910s. The truth is, those big, cumbersome feet of the government have rarely been smaller or more gently applied. So get your facts right, get some perspective, and chill the fuck out. Someone please tell me why these girls that play volleyball in high school have to wear such tight, short outfits to just play ball. They look horrible. Hagerstown. Did your wife notice you checking out the other girls at your daughter's volleyball game? Busted. Nice save, though. Did you make sure that she saw the paper this day so you could be like, hey, honey, look, this one was mine. Remember I told you that I thought those short, tight outfits they made those young girls wear were horrible? And that's why I was staring. Staring with outrage. Smooth. I'm an animal lover, so today I decided to call the Humane Society to find out information about volunteering, to walk dogs, clean up, or do anything that I can do to help out. I was told that you have to sign a contract, that there's a minimum of 6 months that you have to commit yourself to volunteer. I thought this was nonsense. I was wondering how anybody else felt about this. I'm calling you because I want to volunteer my time, and you're telling me that I have to commit to 6 months? This is ridiculous. Hagerstown. You do realize they're trying to run a shelter. I mean, they're the Humane Society. They're underfunded, understaffed, and yeah, when someone walks in and wants to volunteer, they want to make sure that that's a person who really wants to be there and is reliable and will be able to work when they're needed. So yeah, they make you commit to 6 months. That's not nonsense. That's not ridiculous. The fact that you apparently think the Humane Society exists so that you can make yourself feel better by showing up to walk dogs whenever you have a spare hour, that's ridiculous. Believe it or not, and actually, if you've watched more than a few episodes of this series, you have no reason not to believe it. One of the more contentious public debates in Washington County the last few weeks has been over whether or not residents should be allowed to raise chickens in their yards. Boonesboro recently rejected an ordinance that would have allowed people to raise chickens, and the rest of the county has been sounding off about this in mail call ever since. Now, I have ignored this issue up to now because I could not give less of a shit about it, but then a few days ago I saw what has to be the most eloquent and insightful observation yet made on this very important issue, and I wanted to share. I'm calling about chickens in town. When I was young, they had chickens. Clear Spring. Anybody else have anything to say? I didn't think so. I'm not sure the Herald-Mail would print this, but along with Congress and our president's stupid spending, look at all the Hollywood movies that are coming out. They're so stupid. They don't even make sense, some of them. Another thing on my mind is clerks who talk to another clerk while trying to wait on you, or a person that's backing out of a parking space, not getting a chance to back out because the other person's in a big hurry, can't wait, no patience. Not only on the interstate, but everywhere else, in the stores and everywhere else. What is wrong with the American people? Sunday's paper has a good one. Pam Robinson put a good letter in. Hancock. I haven't been watching The Simpsons lately. Did Grandpa move to Hancock? I'd like to make a comment about everything these days, whether it's from our schools to our groceries, everything in our area. I don't understand why everything has to be brand new every single year. And the cost. In the past year, even a cup of yogurt has doubled. Nobody's salaries have doubled. Nobody makes double the wages. No, everything's doubled. Everything has to be new. Nobody stops and respects. Respect doesn't cost anything. Everybody, please. Hagerstown. Yeah, we should probably keep refreshing the groceries, if nothing else. But I'm a little confused by the rest of what you said. Do you think that if we respected each other more, things would cost less? When you find yourself having to go back and try and summarize at the end of your 75-word comment, you're probably doing it wrong. And finally, from Boonesboro, origin of the left and the right. I've often wondered why it is that conservatives are called the right and liberals are called the left. By chance, I stumbled upon this verse in the Bible. The heart of the wise inclines to the right, but the heart of the fool to the left. Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 2. Thus saith the Lord. Amen. Actually, the left-right terminology dates back to the French Revolution, when supporters of the king sat on the right and supporters of the revolution sat on the left in the National Assembly. That arrangement is echoed in our language. That's why today, when we say someone is to the left, we mean they're a liberal, a progressive, someone who advocates for change. And when someone is to the right, they're a conservative. They protect the status quo and they oppose and attempt to roll back reform. You know, doing a few minutes of research and learning the actual answers to questions is easy, it's fun, and it's rewarding. It makes you smarter. You should try it next time instead of just sitting around wondering about stuff until you think you found the answer in your stupid Bible. Thanks for watching.